Thank you very much, Mr Deputy Speaker. The stated purpose of the Misuse of Drugs Act 1971 is to prevent the misuse of controlled drugs. By any measurement that we wish to employ, the Act has failed. The fact that it has been allowed to fail for 50 years is an abomination. We have gone, as was stated, from under 100 deaths in 1971 to over 5,000 in 2020. The legislation is flawed, and the job we are asking the law enforcement agencies to do is impossible. The fallout is picked up by the NHS and the many third sector organisations. A lot has changed since 1971. Asbestos is no longer a popular building material. Women can no longer be fired for being pregnant. In many situations, we have moved forward with the times, but in drugs policy, we are firmly entrenched in the past. When we changed our drug policy in 1971, we junked the British system in favour of the misguided policy of Richard Nixon's America. The result has been an increase in crime, increase in corruption, an increase in harm, and an increase in the number of drug-related deaths. This involves our communities being subjected to violent crime, vicious turf wars, the corruption of the young and often vulnerable members of society. We cannot, we never will, be able to arrest our way out of a drugs war. Substances that were once legal are now made by criminals with scant regard for consumer safety. They're often cut with other products, and potency can't be guaranteed. As a result, many young people have died experimenting with drugs. One tablet, that is all it takes, and a life can be lost because they are not regulated. Other countries are not inflicted by this paralysis. They have decriminalised and legalised drugs. They have drug consumption rooms. They have diversion schemes. I have visited Portugal and Catalonia to see what they are doing, and it works. It saves lives and it rehabilitates. These are humane schemes because they treat drug addiction and harm as a health issue, not a criminal justice one. They're creating an environment where people are not marginalised and ostracised, and as a result, are not experiencing prejudice because of their health issue. And that can only happen when there's a change of a mindset that facilitates the provisions of services. We need to waken up to the reality that the policies we're pursuing are not doing any good, and in some cases are actually making the situation worse. Recent evidence from Canada, as quoted in the Scottish Affairs Select Committee Drugs Inquiry report, showed overdose prevention centres in British Columbia alone saved between 160 and 350 lives in 20 months. And yet the UK government's attitude is that the establishment of drug consumption rooms would condone drug use. This lack of empathy and refusal to bow to evidence makes me wonder if the UK Home Office thinks that the life of a drug addict is a life not worth saving. Because neither the Home Office nor the Department of Health has provided any evidence to contradict the findings of numerous reviews, including by the European Monitoring Centre on Drugs and Drug Addiction and the ACMD, who said that such facilities have not been found to increase injecting, drugs use or local crime rates. Listen to the United Nations Executive Board, chaired by the UN Secretary General and representing 31 UN agencies, including the World Health Organization and the UN Office on Drugs and Crime. They have called on member states to promote alternatives to conviction and punishment in appropriate cases, including the decriminalisation of drug possession for personal use. Minister, please drop the coming down hard on criminals rhetoric. It may sound good, but it does not work today. It has not worked for 50 years. It's time to end the war on drugs and start the war on the causes of addiction. And please, will you engage with Scotland's Drug Minister, Angela Constance? Help her remove obstacles so that we can create a more progressive and more effective drug policy, one that has health at its core. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Ronnie, and I'm sorry you couldn't have the timing clock visible, but my goodness me, you did finish within the 5 minutes, so thank you very much. Kenny McCaskill.